Good morning and welcome back to another trip report and a very Merry Christmas. It is indeed the early hours of December 25th, and I'm at Tokyo's Haneda Airport Terminal 3 to catch a flight to Chicago. Now, up until 72 hours ago, I had no idea I'd be flying today, and more on how this all came about in a bit. To get us to Chicago, we're going to be flying ANA's business class on one of their 777s. And customer service in Japan is top notch, so I'm sure this is going to be an absolutely outstanding experience. The flight's set to depart at 10:40, so come along, let's enjoy ANA's business class, international business class, as we go from A to B.
Alright, so to backtrack a bit, during December 2022, and at the time of editing, round-trip tickets to Canada, the States, and elsewhere from Japan have gotten out of control expensive, to the point where 2 one-way international tickets are cheaper than a round trip. I initially purchased the outbound trip to Toronto with WestJet via Vancouver, and the return with American. And it just so happened that BC got hit with a huge winter storm right before the holiday travel season, which caused YVR to shut down and created an absolute mess over there. WestJet asked travelers to proactively cancel their flights for a full refund, which I did. And to their credit, the process was straightforward, and I got my refund about 3 weeks later. But I still had to get to Toronto since my return flight was with American. So long story short, due to a winter storm on the Pacific coast, we find ourselves by ANA's business class check-in for my trip to Toronto via Chicago. After check-in, I headed outside for a few moments. It certainly was a nice fresh morning in Tokyo, wasn't it?
Well, it's certainly a lot lively today here, isn't it? This is actually my first time back in Terminal 3 since the Corona years, if they're finished. And back then, when everything was really shut down, most of the international flights went to all out of Narita. So this terminal was really dead. Nothing was really going on. So it's great to see it back up and running again. And to be honest, Haneda is a lot closer than Narita, so I enjoy the quicker commute to get here. Anyways, we still have about 2 hours to go, so I think I'm going to just jump through security and do all that custom stuff, and see you guys on the other side. I'll see you guys on the other side. Alright, so all the security and immigration stuff took no time at all, and now we can check out the lounge. And ANA has 2 lounges in Terminal 3, one on either side of the security, and we're at Gate 105 today, so we'll just check out the closer one. Now I think this is going to be pretty interesting because this is the first time I'm checking out a not Maple Leaf lounge. I've only been to Maple Leaf lounges in Canada, so it's my first time visiting a lounge outside the country, so that's going to be pretty interesting. And this one here by Gate 105, there's 2 of them. There's the ANA lounge, ANA suite lounge for the first class, and then there's the ANA lounge that even Starlines Gold and all those individuals can use.
By the reception is a kiosk for the showers. It said there was a 60 to 100 minute wait. A bit long, but I picked up a ticket and we'll see if we have time. The lounge was quite busy this morning, sounding more like a restaurant than a lounge. But should you have the opportunity to visit, you'll find a wide selection of seating throughout. And I tried to find a quieter space away from the service area. The food is your basic Japan buffet breakfast. Sausages, eggs, onigiri, salad, and so forth. The lounge is also well known for its noodle bar, which of course I had to check out. It takes a few minutes to prepare, but the wait for my kitsune soba was well worth it. And as it turned out, I ran out of time and had to cancel my spot for the shower. Maybe next time.
Alright, so that's ANA's lounge at Haneda Airport in Terminal 3. And overall, I like the environment. It was quite busy, especially with the flights to Asia in the morning. But it did get better once a couple of flights start to board and depart. And the food was good too. I really enjoyed the noodle bar, a little soba in the morning. That'll keep me going for a little bit. But anyways, it's about 10 o'clock now, so I just walked over to the gate and we're going to board in about 10 minutes. And speaking of flights, I was actually surprised to find this flight because most flights to across the Pacific to North America leave in the evening. That's when the bulk of them do. So I was surprised that there was some that left in the morning. And what I could tell from the boards, there's only three. There's this one, there's one to New York, and there's one to Washington, D.C. So I was surprised that there was a morning flight to North America. So it leaves late morning, 10:40, and it'll arrive early in the morning, which will probably be dark because it's wintertime. So probably half the flight's going to be daytime, then half the flight is going to be nighttime. That's my guess. Anyways, 10 minutes and we'll jump on board.
For our flight to Chicago, we're in 9K, a rear-facing window seat, where bedding, slippers, headphones, and the amenity kit were waiting. The cabin attendant greeted me and was happy to take my winter jacket to the cloakroom.
Wow, this is so cool. I've never been on a seat this big or this wide. This is crazy. It is 10:30 in the morning, but this is going to be a great experience. Cheers. Merry Christmas.
ANA currently has 13 of these Boeing 777-300 extended range aircraft in their fleet. Each has 212 seats over 4 classes, and there's 10 lavatories on board. In business class, odd number rows 5 through 19 are rear facing, like mine, while remaining rows face forward. Now I can't wait to get up in the air, so sit back and enjoy the lovely takeoff and views of Tokyo. Our 11.5-hour flight would take us almost due east over the ocean, then over the States to Chicago. Currently, only the 777-300ER aircraft are equipped with ANA's The Room for its business class seat. Rooms are configured in a 1-2-1 layout, with odd number rows having the seat closer to the window, and the middle seats beside each other, more ideal for those traveling in pairs. Even number rows have the seats right beside the aisle for all rooms. And as you can see, the cabin has a neutral color scheme, with its light wood paneling to complement the dark rooms. The rooms themselves are nothing short of phenomenal, really well designed. The seat is more than 2 regular seats wide, so more than enough space to stretch out and relax and enjoy the flight however you please. The seat reclines fully flat, which we'll check out after the meal service. Behind the seat are reading lights and a USB and headphone jack off to the side. The front part of the room is composed of a large 24-inch display, a side table, and small cupboard. There's a coat hook and light on the opposite side. Below the screen is a table tucked away and a little cubby, with the ottoman below that. The cupboard is a great place to store many of your belongings, as it has many pockets inside. And hey, even the mirror pivots. They definitely thought of everything, didn't they? And below is a power outlet, another USB port, and an HDMI slot. The main table, which pulls out, is large and sturdy, a good size should you want to get some work done. When it's folded in half or pushed to the secondary position, you can easily get out of your room. And what's a room without, well, a door? Overall, an absolutely fantastic way to enjoy a trans-Pacific flight. And since I booked this flight 2 days ago, I had little time to do research on it, so all this was a surprise, and I was pretty much a boy on Christmas morning. And yes, even at the time of editing, masks are still required on Japan aircraft, though word on the wire is that this may be changing in March 2023. On these flights to the US, there are two main meals. The choice for both is either the Japanese or international set. There is also a supplementary menu which you can enjoy anytime after dinner. For dinner, I went with the Japanese set, and this was a culinary adventure in its own, and I don't think I ever had a meal like this in all my years in Japan. The detail in the presentation, the colors, and flavor pairings are out of this world. The marinated smoked salmon appetizer with its perfect balance of acidity, sweetness from the fruit, and smoky saltiness from the fish, and the marinated grilled halibut particularly stood out in this meal. I accompanied the main course with a highball, whiskey and soda. Absolutely enjoyable. I wish you could smell it through your screen. And watching this again as I edit, I want to eat this meal once more, especially because it's dinner time right now and I'm pretty hungry. And of course, there's always room for dessert, and the orange hazelnut chocolate cake did the trick. Gochiso sama deshita. If you're looking for Wi-Fi connectivity, ANA has you covered, and at reasonable prices, with plans for 30 minutes, 3 hours, or the full flight. And of course, if you're a new viewer, I invite you to subscribe for continued aviation and travel-related content. Mostly from Japan, but with the borders open, it's getting easier to get places now. After the meal service, they turned down the lights, and I thought it was a good idea to get some editing done. With some ice cream, of course. If you have no videos to edit yourself, there's always the in-flight entertainment system to check out. It has a wide selection of media to choose from, and live TV, where you'll find channels like CNN.
CNN? Whoa.
Though the 24-inch monitor is touch sensitive, I found the remote to be your friend when it came to navigating the IFE. You can also pair your device via Bluetooth to control and browse the IFE, which I thought was pretty neat. I particularly enjoyed the moving map on the large monitor. Sometime later, I figured it was a good point to start the multi-day process of getting used to my new time zone. To help with this change, business class passengers are provided with an amenity kit. The case is provided by Globetrotter. Inside you'll find an eye mask, Yuzu lip balm and face mist by Shiro, toothbrush, and earplugs. And I appreciated the lip balm and face mist as it's noticeably dry on the plane. The seat reclines fully flat, and as it reclines it drops a few inches down as well, so it's a good idea to toss any personal bags above in the storage bin, which I used more as a personal locker throughout the flight. There's a fair amount of space towards the end, so it's a comfortable sleep regardless of your sleeping style. All nestled in the bed, it was time to get some rest. I woke up for a few moments sometime later. I thought I saw something red and white outside the window, but it was probably nothing of any value, and I fell right back asleep. I managed to get a few hours rest. Especially with the mask, I found it a bit warm, so I was happy that ANA's 777s have the overhead air vents. A quick peek in the lavatory, and you can see there's extra toothbrushes and mouthwash provided. And yeah, it was kept clean throughout the flight. And the best part is, even at 35,000 feet, I can take full advantage of the Japanese fully functional toilets. With the last 2 hours to go, the lights were softly lit, and those who were awake were offered breakfast. And once again, I took full advantage of the meal service and enjoyed the wonderful cuisine ANA provides. And as you can see, the turbulence decided to join the party at this point as well. And I had no issues polishing off every last morsel. By the time breakfast was finished, I was able to catch and enjoy the sunrise for the last little bit of the flight. This was an excellent, memorable trip, and I had such a great time, and I enjoyed the food, and the room, and the hospitality, and the staff did a spot-on job. They came through the cabin often, even taking my dress shirt to hang up so it didn't get wrinkled. They came by to say goodnight and chat for a bit while I was preparing the bed. And I highly recommend to experience ANA's business class if you have the means or points to do so. This was a rewards trip from Tokyo to Toronto in business. No way I can afford this in cash. And I paid 45,000 Aeroplan points and $687.
Alright, so that's ANA's Trans-Pacific Business Class on one of their 777s. And overall, it was a fantastic experience. The seat was wide, comfortable, and kind of everything you really want for a seat. The star, I think, was the food. It was presented beautifully. It tasted amazing. I mean, what more do you want with that? And the crew was friendly as well. When we were preparing to land, they came up and talked to me, and we chatted for a bit. And they mentioned that usually the cabin is pretty full, but I guess because it's Christmas today, it was relatively empty. So they kind of told me about that. But overall, it was a fantastic flight. Yeah, a little bumpy from the Pacific coast to maybe the mountains, a little bumpy then. But other than that, it was a nice, wonderful flight. I'm glad I had this opportunity to experience ANA's business class. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you thought about ANA's business class. Merry Christmas. I'll see you in the next episode.